Um, Welcome to our quarterly and annual update for our long-term control plan. My name is Chris Levesque, Chief Operating Officer from the MDC. Just quick introductions. We have Jason Waterbury from the MDC as well as Jeff King from the MDC as presenters tonight. We will be going through our annual update, so all of 2024 on MDC's integrated plan with the current focus on North Hartford. And just a reminder, our next quarterly report will be June 12th, 2025. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Jason Waterbury.
Thank you, Chris. The slide I skipped over was the outline slide, but the slide on the screen right now is the refresher showing the geographic area that represents the North Hartford pilot program. As you may recall, work in this area, or the program includes sewer, lateral, and mainline work, repair and rehabilitation projects, as well as sewer separation projects. On this screen, we have some example photos from some rehab repair work, as well as separation work. Later on in this presentation, I'll go into some more status updates on all the work that we're doing so far and what's being forecast forward. This slide hasn't changed. It's a required slide per our consent order. The only item that would change would be item 4. There were no requests.
Jason?
Yes.
It's Ann from Deep. Are we supposed to be able to see your slides?
Oh, yes, you are.
Okay.
We're not.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
You see him now, Ann?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
This isn't working. All right. Just for those who did not get to see the slide, the pictures of the example work are shown on the slide, as well as the map showing the footprint that represents North Hartford. And now we're moving ahead to the slide I was on. This is the required presentation material per our consent order. There are no items that were requested from DEEP's commissioner, so there's no changes to this slide from any prior presentation. The slide shows status updates for all the work included in our consent order. There are now 4 new projects that are completed. They are the Tower Avenue area project, the Woodstock Branford private property work, the N30 CSO project, and the current CIP in the Gully Brook area project. You'll see also on the slide that the Windsor Street project's been separated into 3 phases. That is being done to best expedite work in this area so we can get a shovel on the ground faster and do the best we can to meet the milestones that we have for this project area. The first phase, the sewer rehab phase, will be going into construction early in 2025. This slide shows some example photos from 2024, including the flyer that we made for the Durham Street separation project. We highlighted that project as it was the first expedited sewer separation project completed as part of the North Hartford pilot program, completed well over a year ahead of schedule. And then some example photos on the left of some private property work, whether it be a house connection repair, sewer lateral repair in the middle, or on the left, a new storm lateral that was installed on the Woodstock Branford project. More example work photos. The 2 photos on the left are a before and after of a house on the Woodstock Branford project area. You'll see the upper of the 2 photos shows the roof leader going into the house under that old cast iron connection that most houses had, while the photo below that shows that same roof leader now going into the new pipe on the ground. There's also a new pipe going to the ground to the right of that window, the basement window. That's a sump pump discharge. So the interior separation work was done as part of this project as well. Now, while not quite the same house, you'll see the picture on the right shows 3 different connections, similar style to what was done in the house on the left, where it'd be 2 roof leaders and a sump pump discharge all going into one common storm lateral that would then go out to the new storm drain in the street. This slide shows the CSO reductions on all of our consent order projects. Projects highlighted in green are now considered complete. There's 3 new projects on this table that was complete. The Woodstock Branford one doesn't get highlighted as it was highlighted when we did the mainline work, which I explained in prior presentations. But the Tower Avenue project is now complete. The current CIP sewer rehab project in Gully Brook area is complete, and the N30 project is complete. With those three completed in Q4, we increased our CSO reductions to date by 12% for a one-year storm and 10% for a typical year. Moving along, work outside of their consent order, which we're also required to present. The main accomplishments in 2024 were sewer rehab work and our on-call sewer program. This is outside of the contracts in North Hartford. We did about 5 miles of lining, sewer main lining in those projects. There were also some sewer lateral rehab included as well. Most of that work is in conjunction with our member towns paving programs. In addition, the work for the easement program was nearly complete at the end of 2024. That's why it says in progress in Newington. And then we're moving into Weathersfield, followed by West Hartford and Hartford in the next 3 years. And then the other project listed on the screen, the Bloomfield Sewer Rehab Project, is in design through the end of 2024 and expected to go into construction in late 2025. This is a new slide that we added, just kind of painting a picture of where we're touching in North Hartford. As you can see, with the neighborhood NRZs in North Hartford highlighted, we're pretty much touching every single area with work going on. Work in green is completed. Work in that bronze orange is in construction, and then the lighter color is in design, and then preliminary design being the gray color behind that. Over time, pretty much everything will move into the green phase as these projects get completed. But we wanted to add this to just kind of geographically point out, hey, these are all the different neighborhoods that we're doing work in right now. Now, I'm going to toggle through this slide as projects are going to highlight and pop up. Just before I toggle through, Tower Avenue is really the only one that changed on this slide, as that was the one that was completed in Q4. All the other statuses stayed the same. So you've got the expedited sewer separation contracts. They are going on right now with Durham being complete, Woodstock Branford being complete. Westland Garden is currently in construction, and Windsor Street area, which I mentioned earlier, is being broken up into multiple phases and will start construction soon in 2025. The next one is the Tower Avenue project area, which was completed in 2024, followed by the 3 large lining contracts, with the North Branch project being the first one to went into construction, then the North Meadows construction project, and the Gully Brook area project. All 3 of these will be in construction into 2026 and will represent a large chunk of sewer rehab work and sewer lateral work in these 3 sewer sheds. The last one to show up on here is the North Branch Park River drainage study. I have another slide that's going to cover that, but the yellow highlighted on here is the footprint of what that drainage study encompasses from a land area. And then actually finally the Granby 789 sewer separation work, which is still in the planning preliminary design phase. The preliminary design has started, and then once that PD is done, which I'll mention, I'll go into more detail on another slide, the final design for these 3 areas will go into the start mode. Moving along, this slide is a repeat from prior presentations. The main purpose of this slide is to educate homeowners or property owners as to how to participate in either our sewer backup prevention program, which is also known as the backwater valve program, or the sewer house connection program. There's no cost to these property owners to participate, and no cost to have the improvements made. Now, the sewer backup program there's no typical house when we do this work. Every house is pretty much a miniature project that our utility services staff kind of get to solve and get work executed. But these 2 slides, or these 2 pictures, show a before and after of a particular property with what improvements were made as part of this program. And the bottom line is, after the program's complete, the house was protected from backups. There is no possible way that it could be backed up, whether it be from groundwater through its foundation drain or the sewer backing up. More example photos to accomplish those 2 goals of protecting those properties. You've got a new sink with backup prevention, and then you've got a sump pump in the middle, which would be used to pump out the foundation drain water that would have gone to the sewer lateral. And then on the right, if a house doesn't have the option of having a storm lateral there yet, as in the sewer separation work hasn't proceeded in that area yet, the alternative or temporary solution is to have the sump pump discharged to the lawn, like it's shown on the picture. We added this slide, just showing some progress through 2024 of work in the backup prevention program. As you may be aware, we have a goal of 1,500 properties having recommendations made and work progressed through in North Hartford. We're about 36% there. There's been we've reached out to 2,211 properties in North Hartford, with 505 participating and having work completed and or pending. Another 35 had work scheduled but however was later dropped off, and we had 162 properties also had the assessments completed. So that's a total of 702 assessments, but they either declined work or there wasn't any improvements recommended. Moving ahead within the backup prevention program, we've had a lot of properties participate. So in Q4, we saw 530 properties. It's about a 30% increase compared to Q3 in properties that participate in these two programs. As you can see on the slide, the map on the right-hand side, it's really throughout the district, not just in Hartford. Participation includes properties that responded and scheduled or scheduled and rescheduled or had an assessment or even had the work done and or recommended. So it's all gamuts of participation. And then the next slide is a similar kind of theme, except just showing all of 2024. But as you can see, there's nearly 1,700 properties participated in these two programs district-wide. And just for comparison, the 1,500 number I gave on the other side was specific to North Hartford. Now moving ahead to consent order projects outside of North Hartford, but still in Hartford. We now have 2 green projects on this slide. Green projects completed. That being the, I pre-toggled there. That being the current CIP work in Gully and Bloomfield as green, and I toggle to it. The N30 project should show up. That project's now also green as being complete. Now going back, the 18-inch to 21-inch project, as you may remember, was split into 2 parts. One part is in construction. The second part will go into construction later in 2025. Now, with the completion of the N30 project, that is now the first CSO that has consent order compliance within the consent orders that now has achieved a 1-year level of control. Moving ahead to projects outside of Hartford, no changes on this slide for any statuses. West Hartford SS continues in construction. As I mentioned in the prior presentation, it's a large project. It's about 100,000 feet of sewer lining and 2,200 laterals. The main line lining will be done by the end of 2025. That is the consent order goal. And the sewer lateral lining will continue into 2027. North Branch drainage area study. No changes to this slide compared to Q3. However, early in Q1 of 2025, the city did complete its review of the report that CDM Smith did on the river and the drainage system connected to the river. And I know the comments were sent back to CDM Smith, and CDM Smith is working on addressing those comments. Parallel to that, CDM Smith is working on the separation designs for all of the Granby area, not just 7, 8, 9. However, the focus is 7, 8, 9. And when we do expect a draft of that study to be completed by the end of either Q1 or early in Q2 of 2025. And once that's completed, we can then start the final design phase for the separation work in the Granby area. Now here's the KPIs, the key performance indicators that we're required to present on our consent order. This is district-wide. The next slide will go into just North Hartford. A couple key things to point out on this slide is we saw significant jumps in the new storm drain or sanitary sewers installed in Q4 compared to Q3, as well as work associated with the backup prevention and house connection program. It's also worth noting that in 2024, which was kind of the first full year of construction under this new program, we lined about 16 miles of sewers in the district and lined about 2,200 properties of laterals. Those numbers are going to increase significantly in the next 2 years with construction really ramping up. So you're going to see some pretty large numbers on those 2 metrics. Now looking at North Hartford, similar items increased Q4 to Q3. But it's worth noting that the mainline rehab work in North Hartford is 46% of the mainline rehab work we did within the year of 2024 district-wide. And the lateral work's like 33%. So obviously the focus on North Hartford is coming through in the statistics that we're reporting on. This is CSO reductions in N2 and N4, which we're required to report. No changes in this slide, as none of the work that we did or completed in 2024 are subject to these two CSOs. It's really going to be the North Branch Park River area and then the separation work that will complete these objectives. And then in similar fashion, as we look at Gully and North Meadows, only the Tower Avenue project, which is the top right of the three circles on the map, had an impact on this screen with the CSO reductions achieved from that project. The other projects that I listed that were complete aren't tributary to these two drainage areas, so they wouldn't show up on this graphs. And with that, I will pass it over to Jeff.
Thank you, Jason. So with this part of the presentation, our goal is basically just to review all the things you've heard in Q1 through Q3 and just kind of set a clear path as far as like what we're doing to continue to move forward as it relates to outreach and workforce development. So the community continues to be a valuable resource, and we are connecting with the neighborhood we serve through appreciating everyone's participation and cooperation through this critical period of the North Hartford Pilot Project. We're maintaining strong community engagement throughout the House Connection Program and the Backwater Valve Program by providing comprehensive outreach. We're doing that through mailings, door-to-door notifications, project meetings, active participation in the local NRZs, and attending community group meetings to ensure that residents stay informed. For real-time updates, you can visit our website or visit us at our outreach office at 179 Barber Street. This location serves as a central hub. You can visit Monday through Friday at those various hours, and that's a place where the public can get information on project schedules, career opportunities, contractor resources, and those interested in MDC job openings can connect with myself or Carlos Bravo. We're overseeing the contractor career development and construction compliance. Again, this outreach that we do to keep residents informed is really a benefit to strengthen our workforce pipeline and ensure that MDC stays transparent and accessible to the community. Slide 2. So we continue to have great news as far as the support that we're giving to minority businesses, as far as the DBEs under the SBE, small business, minority business, and women business-owned enterprises. We provided certification and registration support for obtaining the DAS certification. We are holding monthly clinics with our partners that you see above. And under the contractor development, we're facilitating contractors that are participating in the Backwater Valve and House Connection Program through matchmaking prime contractors with subcontractors. These subcontractors, we're looking to make them prime contractors, and we're doing that through joint venturing so they can learn, kind of what the bigger contractors are doing. And we are establishing partnerships where these subcontractors can link up with local distributors and get themselves into a credit basis versus COD. We're also helping these subcontractors secure financial and administrative support through the HEDCO enterprise. So as far as our program outcomes, we've successfully onboarded a lot of new Hartford-based contractors. We're helping those contractors through mentorship so they can scale to do more MDC work and continue to keep up with our workload. So as far as all of the events that we've talked about through Q1 through Q3, we basically want to highlight what we've successfully completed. So in Q1, we established more of a focus on partnerships. You can see these are the events that we attended. In Q2, we took those events and expanded those efforts into more outreach and training initiatives. You can see those bullets there as far as what we did. In Q4, those efforts went from strengthening partnerships into doing more of a career building and pipeline opportunity training. as you can see, those are the events that we successfully completed in Q3. Next slide. And in Q4, we took those key partnerships and started to develop more concrete activities. So we partnered with the Connecticut Department of Labor, University of Hartford, and Weaver High School, where we were able to look more at doing apprenticeship programs and providing more education in the classroom as far as students that were interested in the STEMs, which is the science, technology, and engineering and mathematics. So out of those initiatives, we ended up establishing training programs for the 5 entry-level positions that I'll get into later at the MDC. We developed a new certification pathway process. I'll get into that a little bit later. And in Q4, we ended up attending a couple conferences where we gave presentations on what our workforce development successes were. We also did a capstone project on how we were able to use the Clean Water Project and the North Hartford Pilot Project to drive a lot of new initiatives that led to our flagship Tri-Trade program. Next slide. So the Tri-Trade program is basically our feeder system that led into a workforce development program. What we ended up having through the Tri-Trade was we had 11 students that came to us throughout their week of April vacation. After that week, we ended up bringing 6 of those students back into our work-based learning program, which is a summer internship. Out of those 6 students, we ended up hiring 2 full-time at the MDC, which is a huge accomplishment in our view because they're Hartford residents, but they're also 18 and now, bettering their career moving forward. So under that program, we ended up having students working in utility services, in field operations, in utilities maintenance, in our wastewater treatment and water treatment facilities. And we're now taking that program and providing future growth initiatives where we can now continue to mentor those students and make sure that we can have a better career pathway so that they're not working with MDC, they can at least work with some of our contractors or find them placements in other industries. Next slide. So as far as a year in review, we just wanted to recap the success of this workforce development and training initiatives. So we basically expanded our Learn and Earn program to now a summer intern work-based learning program. So that's more hands-on work. We have also engaged with the CTEC schools where we can now start to work with the schools so they can start training students to specific divisions within the MDC where we're looking to hire students so that the schools can expand what kind of training they can provide. We've now grown into linking up with colleges in the tri-state area through Handshake portal. So that's more of a focus on the engineering aspects and the construction management aspects so we can focus on job opportunities at headquarters. And we're using the outreach office where we can do mock interviews with people from the community as well as engage with those contractors who are looking for some more direction. On the in-between part, we're working with the local colleges so that there are individuals who aren't necessarily looking to work with their hands and they're not necessarily looking to go to college, but there are jobs in our wastewater treatment and water treatment facilities where those community colleges can provide training through the Sacramento University on how people can obtain their wastewater treatment and water treatment class 1 licenses to move up to maybe a class 4 eventually. And we are working with local nonprofits as far as how we can reach out to veterans and second chance citizens who are working their way back into the workforce. We're also working within those high schools, providing opportunities so students can get their OSHA 10 or get their Flagger certification. So that we can, again, have a gap or a pipeline for students who are looking to transition from high school directly into the workforce. And as a whole, we now have a summer internship placement program. We have contractor development programs, and we have 5 entry-level positions at the MDC that we're looking to provide training for. So a year in review. Essentially, these are all the milestone metrics that we've hit. So we have our Hartford 30% resident goal. We are exceeding that. We've in total hired 16 Hartford residents throughout the year 2024. We've awarded 3 new Hartford contracts. We've awarded 3 Hartford contractors full-time work at the MDC under our backwater valve program. Within those 3 companies, 9 new residents have now transitioned to long-term employment, and we are building our work-based learning program to now employ students from high school level through 5 different divisions at the MDC. We're now working in the education field as far as being at Weber High School full-time. We're doing a 19-week credential program where we're helping students who don't want to go to college learn tricks of the trade. We're at the Hartford Public High School in their Engineering Green Pathway School, where we're engaging with the science students, the engineering students, the mathematics students, and giving them more out in the field opportunities to visit our sewer treatment plant or water treatment plant. We're engaged with Lincoln Technical Institution for a instrumentation and control tech specialist job, where we're giving those electrical students an opportunity to harness those skills and potentially get jobs at the MDC in areas where we need filled. We're collaborating with the University of Hartford and their engineering department, where we can come up with specialty projects. One of the things we're looking at is having those students design and develop a portable water treatment plant. And we are trying to strengthen more relationships with the colleges in the tri-state area like Drexel and Merrimack, so we can tap into those students who are looking for co-op opportunities to get summer internships at the MDC. Again, some of the notable things we've accomplished in 2024 is we're a part of the New England Water Environmental Association, where we wrote an abstract on the workforce development success we've been having. We did another abstract and presented at the Institute of Asset Management, where we talked about workforce development being an asset that companies or people in the industry should start taking a look at. It's not just about having equipment and staff and computers that are assets. People are also assets as well. And we are, and personally myself, I was a part of the Transformative Water Leadership Academy, where I did a capstone project on the success we had with this workforce development initiatives. So we also landed a couple strategic partnerships like Pratt & Whitney and Ready CT, as well as Blue Hill Civic, where we're working inside these high schools to develop training opportunities for students and really be a bridge on how they can get from high school to the MDC or to some of our contractors. So looking ahead in 2025, we're excited to see what we could do as far as doing some in-house apprenticeship programs, teaming up with the CTEC high schools to look at one of the jobs we're have a high need for, which is the instrumentation and control tech specialist. We now have our annual tried trade program, where we are now at, I want to say, at least 13 high schools in the Hartford area. We have about 52 applicants, and out of those 52 applicants, we'll probably select 15 students and make sure we keep in contact with all of those students to see if we can mentor them and to provide additional opportunities for them. Next slide. And so as far as our Hartford resident goal, which everyone's very excited on, this quarter we were able to employ enough Hartford residents that totaled about 6,500 hours. That was a grand total of 43% of our 30% goal. And to date, we're at 35% of all hours worked on Hartford projects being by Hartford residents, for a total of 20,300 hours. As far as our MBE and WBE goals, we are exceeding our minority business goal on a dollar percentage basis by 1.5%. And we are doing a very good job on our women business internship, our women business enterprise goal this quarter by exceeding by 8%. And overall, we're exceeding our 4% goal by almost 0.5%. So overall, I think we're doing a pretty great job with our WBE goals and our overall workforce development. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jason. This presentation presented, there's a lot of great work being performed by MDC, all of our support staff, our commissioners are very supportive of all the work we're performing. The community involvement on all these projects is greatly appreciated, and there's a lot more good things happening as well throughout the program. Just a reminder, stay informed. Jason and Jeff mentioned we do have a portion of our website dedicated to our Clean Water Project and our integrated plan. The web address is part of this presentation. If any residents, anyone from the public want to learn more, we do present at our NRZ meetings, the City of Hartford NRZ meetings. And again, the next quarterly meeting is coming up this June. More will come. The presentation will be posted prior to the meeting. Any comments, questions? Sure, sorry. Yeah, oh, there's one right there. Nope, that's off.
Okay. I am under the understanding that there are some small number of homes in North Hartford where when MDC has gone in to do sewer backup prevention work, put in new laterals and so forth, they're precluded from doing that work because there are other existing problems with the home, including, but maybe not limited to, having an insufficient electrical capacity to take on that work. And that there are some programs, including maybe Rebuild Hartford, which are potentially open. I haven't reached out to them yet, to working in conjunction with MDC. I'm not sure if this is a forum for back and forth, in which case I would pose it as a question. Otherwise, just as a commentary moving forward, that I think perhaps it would be in the best interest of consumers in North Hartford if we did pursue those relationships with any other community partners who maybe could make sure that that work can get done on problematic properties where there are other existing issues with the home. So
Yeah, we could definitely follow up on that through John and provide that information back to you. But yes, we do have a working relationship with the Development Service as well as Rebuilding Together Hartford
okay.
when we do find these issues in homes. But we can give you sort of our approach to this, and as well as some of the areas where we have success and some of the areas we don't. We are actively working with the Director of Development Services on trying to improve this at the City of Hartford. So more to come on that, but we can definitely pass all the information to John.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it. And that adjourns the meeting. Thank you.